News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Monica Ricks. And that's your closing bell on Wall Street. The Dow added 588 points today, up 1 1/3%. The Nasdaq adding 490, up 2.2%, and the S&P was up 1.5%. Bond markets were closed today for Columbus Day. Traders lifting stocks thanks to an AI rally and cooling of Middle Eastern tensions. There was a lot to celebrate as all living Israeli hostages were returned in Gaza. And President Trump met with Middle Eastern and European leaders for a signing ceremony to that ceasefire deal. He says the agreement's the first step towards stability in the region.
This is the day that people across the region and around the world have been working, striving, hoping, and praying for. They have done things over the last month that I think were really unthinkable. Nobody thought this could happen. With the historic agreement we've just signed, those prayers of millions have finally been answered.
The president called it a new beginning for the war-torn region. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu skipped the peace summit in Egypt today, but he did praise Trump earlier while addressing the Knesset.
Donald Trump is the greatest friend that the state of Israel has ever had in the White House.
Trump also lobbied before the Knesset today for Netanyahu to receive a pardon that would offer a reprieve from his ongoing corruption trial. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says he still expects President Trump and Xi Jinping to meet despite China's move to tighten exports of rare earths. Bessent warning everything's on the table when it comes to retaliating against China's decision.
China is a command and control economy. They are neither going to command nor control us. We are going to assert our sovereignty in various ways.
Secretary Bessent on Fox Business today. He says the U.S. will be meeting with allies this week and expects to get substantial global support. Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia President Anna Paulson has signaled she favors 2 more quarter-point interest rate cuts this year.
Labor market risks do appear to be increasing. Not outrageously, but noticeably. And momentum seems to be going in the wrong direction. Against this backdrop, the FOMC's decision to cut rates by 25 basis points in September made sense. Over the rest of the year, I view easing along the lines of the median SEP policy path as appropriate.
Philly Fed President Anna Paulson, she says she expects the economy to continue growing above trend in the third quarter, but notes monetary policy should consider the impact of tariffs on consumer price increases. Bitcoin's modest recovery after Friday's record crypto crash has done little to ease the fallout from over $20 billion purge of leverage bets that left parts of the market incapacitated. Traders say the washout erased months of buildup and forced some funds out entirely. The token now hovering around $116,000. Beyond Meat stock plummeted 49% today. That slide due to a debt swap plan the troubled plant-based protein producer says will likely lead to a substantial dilution of shareholders. And shares of Broadcom were up about 10%, the most in nearly 6 months after inking a new multi-year deal with OpenAI to create custom chips and networking equipment. Bloomberg's Caroline Hyde tells us that deal would add 10 gigawatts worth of AI data center capacity.
Just think 1 gigawatt is equivalent of 1 nuclear plant. We've got 10 of those coming online by basically 2029. But remember, Broadcom helps them design their own custom chips. This was already hinted at by Hock Tan when they had their earnings in the beginning of September. A new customer, $10 billion of orders coming online. And we managed to break at the time that customer was indeed OpenAI.
Bloomberg's Caroline Hyde reporting that hardware rollout should be completed by the end of 2029. The government shutdown drags on in Washington, now in its 13th day with no plans for negotiations, at least until tomorrow because of Columbus Day. Healthcare reform still the sticking point among Democrats, but House Speaker Mike Johnson says those talks won't happen till the shutdown ends.
You've heard Chuck Schumer say breathlessly, I just want the 4 leaders to get in a back room and make a deal. We're not doing that. Republicans are eager to return to the actual negotiating table, but we won't negotiate in smoke-filled back rooms, and we won't negotiate as hostages.
House Speaker Mike Johnson, their subsidies are set to expire by the end of the year. Norwegian officials are now investigating cyber espionage as the most likely cause of an unusual betting surge on this year's Nobel Peace Prize recipient ahead of the actual announcement. The Nobel Institute says it started looking into this on Friday after bets on Polymarket started spiking hours before it was unveiled the Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Machado was awarded the 2025 prize for fighting democracy. At least 3 accounts on the platform made a combined profit of about $90,000. And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Monica Ricks, and this is Bloomberg.